Hello, gang. I am so sorry to be late. The program and the computer and I had a disagreement on what my password was. I love when you get locked out at the last minute, don't you? Um, it- anyway, I'm here. Finally, I got everything reset and I'm here. So please log in and leave me a comment when you're on so I can know that you're here. I have been away for 2 weeks and it was lovely. I had 3 back-to-back trips again. It was tiring, but lovely. So let's see. The first thing I did was it was Rhinebeck. It's the New York Sheep and Wool Festival in Rhinebeck, New York. And leading up to that, I went to Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco. A lot of the designers and podcasters stop in there, close to New York City, on their way up to Rhinebeck. So I got to see Camellia. Uh, I'm not sure. Sorry. I don't know all the yarn people. I know quilt people's names. I'm learning yarn people. Camellia's cashmere. Oh, it's lovely. I just cast some on last night. And then my daughter and her wife bought a bunch of yarn and met their podcasters, and we had a good time. Then on Saturday, I went to Rhinebeck. Oh my word, it was beautiful in Hudson Valley, New York. And I'm willing to fight on this one. Could be the most beautiful place on the earth in the autumn. And if not, it's right up at the top. And we had magic. We had magical, magical weather. It was 70 degrees. It was bright, vibrant autumn colors. It was just a perfect day. And I was thinking about how at quilt shows we have bed turnings where every hour they take the quilt off of the bed and show the quilt underneath it. And I think at the knitting show, every hour quilters were taking off a sweater, just because it went from 30 something in the morning to 70 something in the afternoon, and we just had to dress for cold in the morning and just keep stripping it off. But it was beautiful walking around, got to snuggle some sheeps and some llamas and some goats and some bunnies and see all the yarn. I bought more than I wanted to, but I have no regrets. And that was good. And then the next day I left for vacation and I went to the White Mountains in New Hampshire, which was also wonderful. 70 degrees, beautiful foliage. And that was with my son's family, and we went hiking. Now, I walk with a walker quite often and a cane, so hiking is a little out of my wheelhouse. I did do one hike up to see a waterfall. They said it was a reasonable path, which it was, except it was all uphill. And to get to the waterfall and then walk back down. And then I was done for the rest of the trip. So the next day I stayed home while they hiked. But for the other hikes, I would sit in the car and knit while they went and hiked, because it wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, have the window down, have an audio book that goes into my ears, and life is just beautiful. So it was a wonderful time there. And I came home from there and went to Calico Gals, which is a shop in Syracuse, New York. And it was wonderful. It was a beautiful drive across New York. It was probably the end of the good foliage. And then I got to see quilters when I got there. So it was all fabulous. Wonderful quilters. And while I was there, I have a friend who lives in Syracuse. So I got to have dinner with her, and we went to the symphony. The symphony was the Pops. So it wasn't classical music, it was contemporary music. And it was from the page to the stage, and it was books made into movies, and then it was music from the songs from those books. Okay, half of it was Harry Potter, but it was also Lord of the Rings, and it was Hook, the old Robin Williams movie, and a bunch of other ones like that. And people were going in costume. Conveniently, I was making myself um, a Hufflepuff scarf, because that's my house in Hogwarts. I'm a duffer. And I had it with me, and I did not get it done in time. Now, the Hufflepuff scarf, it's just a tube. So it's like a sock without a foot on it, just a long tube. So I just cast it off and wore it. And then when I got back to the hotel, I picked it back up again and finished it. So the scarf is finished. It's waiting to be fringed. But it was really fun. Beautiful music. Another great day of classes. Drove home. So here I am. I'm home for 3 days. And then I go to Adirondack Quilts in upstate New York and do some more teaching. So October, it's weird not being in Houston, because that's 2 weeks of October for I was probably there 15, 16 years, teaching there more than half of that. And it's been weird not having Houston on my calendar, but now it's physically really challenging to go. So I get to see quilters, which is just as good and much easier on my body. So it's delightful. So let's see what the comments are. So Sharian, hello in Frisco, Texas. And hello, Joan Fishahola. It was definitely, I have had 2 weeks of good times. So it was wonderful. I hated to be away, but I missed you, but not that much, to not go on vacation. So it was a wonderful time. And this autumn has been just a gift, such a gift. The weather has been incredible. Like we could use some rain. The weather has been incredible. The foliage is just gorgeous. And I'm just tootling around in my car, enjoying it all. Well, Cindy, hello. It's good to see you. It was great to see you in person as well. And I look forward to doing that again. And Janet, hello. I'm sure you don't have the foliage changes that you were used to back up here, but I'm glad to see you all. I do have a list. Let's see, what have I covered already? I went to Syracuse. Boom. I went to the symphony. Boom. I have a couple things, very few, to show you. I did put my last placemat video out. So next week, these will be down. As in when my husband gets home from work tonight, I'll have him take them down for me. He has a once a week job of changing the quilt up there because I can't get on a step stool to do it. So that'll come down and something else will go up. I will sew the rest of the buttons on my completed placemats, and then I will wrap them as a Christmas present. Done. That was a really, really fun time. For those who don't know, there was a handy quilter quilt along with shabby fabrics with a pattern and fabric from Tilda. And if you go to my blog, which is debbybrownquilts.com, hit the blog button, which is pretty obvious, right under the headline, and it'll take you over to my blog. Look for these, and it'll give you a link to the pattern and to the videos of how I quilted each one. So the pattern had 6 distinct blocks in it. Each was made 4 times and put together as a quilt. I knew I was not going to have time to make the quilt, so I just made one of each block, turned it into a placemat, and I quilted each one in a different edge-to-edge or overall quilting pattern that I would use on a quilt. I quilted them all on Daniel Craig, which is the name of my handy quilter stationary long arm, and videoed it. So it was a win-win all around. I had fun making it. I had fun quilting it. I had fun sharing it with you, and I will have fun giving it away as a Christmas gift. I stitched snowflakes on the snowman on the tree over there. I stitched chevrons. I stitched clamshells on the house. I stitched swirls from a stencil on the apple. I stitched double meandering on the goose, and on the stocking I used a stencil to stitch what mimics knitwear, because I think I'm knitting stockings, maybe because I knit socks. But all of those videos are up on YouTube. You can find them anytime. I'm interested. I actually know what my next project to be put on the board is, but it'll take me a couple weeks to get that one done. So that was my last new video for this week. I wrote down that I wanted to talk to you about placemats, and I wasn't sure which placemats I meant when I mentioned it, when I just wrote my notes down. So I grabbed these out. These are about to be mailed off. I made a couple extra acorn blocks from October's color block, and I cross-hatched them. I made them into placemats and cross-hatched them. So these are going to be mailed off this afternoon and gifted to someone to enjoy the autumn. I have not quilted the October quilt yet. And that was a color block quilt. For those who are new, color block quilts are made from 16 patches. So I had a brown 16 patch there, and I cut the edges off and put a hat on it, and it became an acorn. I may have 80 some patterns made from color blocks, and I have more. Next month, November, which I can't believe is Friday, the new pattern probably will not be out on Friday, but it's going to be brown as well, and it's going to be little. So these are this year, all of the color blocks, what to make from your scraps that you've cut into 2.5-inch squares and sewn back together into a 16 patch. Um, I do, I attempt to do a quilt a month and then a video on how to quilt it. So this year was all holiday quilts. Last year was animal quilts, but I was sick most of last year, so I did not. There aren't many in the 2023 quilt along. 2022 and 2021 were general patchwork, and then I have a Christmas, a 'tis the season quilt along, and a something about the summer, make quilts of all the sunshines group of quilts. I already have a theme for next year. I'm not going to reveal it until probably Good Friday. Not Good Friday, Black Friday, going into the holidays. And then I will have a mystery quilt starting off in January, also coming out on Black Friday. For those outside of the States, Black Friday is the shopping day after American Thanksgiving. And this year, that date is November, looking it up. Is it the 29th? Uh, November 29th. So I will have a newsletter out then with a bunch of new plans and how you can participate in that. Sorry, I had to make my way back to my screen. I lost you. So that's some things I have coming up. I did finish another quilt that was really, really funny. And this was a top I had made a long time ago, and it was already basted, so I figured why not just quilt it because I wanted to quilt. Let me pull it up. Where are the pictures? I know I have the pictures because I put them on my blog. There we go. Um, 2 more seconds and I will get these all opened up. There they are. Okay, so I'm back to you and I am now going to share my screen. So that is me falling in love with my walking foot. I love walking foot quilting. And I have the walking foot on my new Handy Quilter Stitch 610. And this stitch, I call the bacon stitch. It's number 9. I stitch it at 7.5 wide and 3. My stitch length is 3 millimeters, and the wiggle is 7.5 millimeters wide. This is what it looks like on the whole quilt. And here's what it looks like up close. Now on this one, I stitched in every row, and I did it by accident. I think I did 3 rows before I realized I stitched in every row, but I used a really thin batting and I was having a lot of fun. So I kept at it. Now I take photography is hard for me. It's not one of my skills. And I have a quilt rack in my living room where I hang quilts when it's no longer summer because I can get good light for pictures outside and now I can't. Everything's kind of dull yellow. The light is not excellent and I don't know how to edit photos that way. So I take pictures in the living room and it's kind of the best I can do. Took the picture, it was up overnight. I took it down later. Like I think I put it up one night and took the photos the next morning. And that night at dinner, before that, I was in a conversation with my sister and I was texting her. She's like, have you been busy lately? Have you been quilting lately? So I texted her a bunch of pictures of things I've been making. She was like, oh, I love that quilt. And I said, okay. And I reminded her that as my sister, she has the right to say, I want that quilt. She's like, but if you like it, I'm like, I can't keep every quilt I make. So this quilt is going to my sister. Hey, Sharon. And that night at dinner, my husband said, I know you didn't ask, but I really liked that quilt that was in the living room. That was really nice. And I'm like, oh, too late, Jeff. Snooze, you lose. And that night I was talking to my daughter and I was sending her pictures of recent work and she wants this quilt too. So you may see 2 more of these. Fortunately, I have the fabric. I have a cutie packs of solids that I put together. The quilt is Sweet Tooth and I'll be making a couple more and it'll be very fun. So let me stop sharing. So I really enjoyed that quilt. Have you ever had a quilt that people have fought over? Do you feel bad and want to make more for them, or you just say, "Oh, too bad. That's nice." Sorry, maybe next time. But fortunately, it's a quilt I enjoy making. I enjoy quilting and I enjoy giving it away. So that I have made. And I think that is all the news I have for you. So I am, today I started quilting the bat quilt, which was October. I think the acorn was September. The October quilt was a bat and it's orange on purple. It's an orange bat on purple fabric and it's in my Handy Quilter Stitch 610 sewing machine right now. And I started quilting it free motion in green thread on purple and orange, and it's spider webs. So I'm not a big spooky season Halloween decorator type person, but my daughter-in-law is, and she really wants this quilt and she approves of the green spider webs on the purple bat. So I don't have any pictures of the spider web quilting yet, but that video may come out next week or the following. The pattern for color blocks in November is going to be a variety of a leaf, and you can look for that. I will post it, but I won't tell you about it until Monday. So if you're in color blocks, you may find the new pattern is up, but it won't be up until at least Friday and possibly not then. But I hope to have it up by Monday, and I will email you a newsletter. Let's see. We got some more comments. Hello, Annette from Kissimmee, Florida. I'm glad you're here. Um, I have today and tomorrow afternoon left to quilt, and then I have to leave again. But the laundry's done. I'm ready to pack. So I do have a day and a half, well, maybe 10 hours of quilting left. So I'll see how much I can get done. And I'm really looking forward to it. I have a good book. I have my earbuds, and I'm ready to go. Hopefully you've had an amazing autumn as well if you're in the northern hemisphere here. It's just been magnificent to just walk outside and go, "Oh, this is so beautiful." And it's been day after day after day of that. Today is not like that. It looks like it wants to rain, but I don't know if it's going to. We could really use the rain, but it's just kind of a gray day today, and you can't complain because we haven't had a gray day in very long time, in weeks. So I'm kind of enjoying it. So let's see, Annette, you can't wait to see the Halloween quilt. I only did one row down the middle. I'll do a couple more rows and then I'll film it. But I might not get the quilt finished by Monday. The video might not go out by my Monday newsletter. It might have to go in the next week. So I'm sorry to miss Halloween this year, but I'm guessing it'll pop around again next year. Thanks for understanding that I was gone a lot this month. Fall is my favorite season, and this year has been fabulous. Amen. This is probably the most beautiful autumn I can remember in 55 years. I spent my first 18 years in Pittsburgh, and then I moved here. So I think it's just gorgeous here. Upstate New York, New England, it's just gorgeous. Pittsburgh wasn't too shabby either, but God just put a little twist on it this year and turned everything up. It's amazing. So Nancy, you've had a spectacular autumn. The gray skies we have are due to brush fires in the eastern part of the state. Okay, because I have gray skies over here too. I'm west of Danbury. Um, and Nancy, you are in Massachusetts or Connecticut? I'm trying to remember, but I will look that up. Um, I'm sad about the brush fires. I hope everybody is okay. But as I was in bed this morning, I was waiting to wake up because I was waiting for the sun to come up, and it really hasn't. It's kind of gray. And Nancy, 79 degrees in Wisconsin today, more expected tomorrow. Yes, we are going up to 80 this week. So I'm on my way 2.5 hours, 3 hours north of me, up to Glens Falls Adirondack Quilts this week. And then in 2 weeks, I'll be going down to the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And I think that is going to be cooler by then. So I think that's 3 weeks from now. I think it'll be legitimately past the foliage season, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I cannot complain about a gray day. I cannot complain if the leaves fall because we've had more perfect autumn days than you can count on two hands. You got to take off my shoes to count them. So it's just been magical. It kind of reminds me, my husband and I, he travels with me sometimes when I teach, and I was teaching in Annapolis, Maryland. And it was like the first week of March or something like that. And when I booked it the year before, I said, oh, darn, it's too early for peak cherry blossom season. I really wanted to go for cherry blossom season, but we went anyway. And he likes to go tour the museums and do all the free stuff there is to do throughout, Annapolis, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. We went to Washington, D.C. the day before I taught, and it was an unseasonably warm winter, and the cherry blossoms came early. We ended up being there on cheap peak cherry blossom day, and everyone's just walking around like this, like, oh, what is this beautiful, these little cherry blossoms falling from the sky, and everybody was happy. And that's what it's been here for a couple weeks. Just magical. So I totally appreciate every bit of it. Let's see. You're in Massachusetts. That's what I thought I remembered. And Cindy, there are brush fires around me in Massachusetts, smoke everywhere. Oh, that's horrible. I hope everyone's okay and that properties are being protected. It's kind of sad to see those natural disasters, or even not natural, depending on how the brush fire started. But we could really use the rain. It's very, very, very dry in the northeastern US right now. And let's see, Anne from Coos Bay, Oregon. You've made 9 color block quilts, Clouder of Kitties. I was in your local quilt show. Yay! What color were your cats? Did you do them all different? Were they after your own personal cats? We need details. I don't have any personal cats. We are a post cat household, but I have had 3 gray striped cats. But whenever I made my Clouder of cats, I made a gray cat, a black cat, a tabby cat, and I forget, maybe a calico cat. So I think I did gray, black, brown, and orange were mine for the varieties of kitties. Oh, something fun at the yarn show, at the knitting, the Sheep and Wool Festival. My daughter-in-law bought this, and I didn't because I didn't go that day. And I was kind of done walking after one day. I was with my walker and had to sit down at the end of each aisle, which was fine. It was perfect. It was magical. There's yarn from somebody that she knows about, and she bought it. There's a yarn dyer who makes yarn and dyes it after the colors of the cats in the shelter. And then you get a little picture of the cat on the thing of yarn. I need to buy that. I think that's just magical. So if I can find it, I will look it up for you. If anyone's interested, it will probably go out in the newsletter whenever that happens. But I can't buy any yarn. I'm on a yarn diet. I bought yarn the week of the Wool Festival to make 4 projects. So I have to finish 5 projects in order to buy another piece of yarn. I'm almost done with one, and it was the smallest of them, so it's going to be a little while before I'm allowed to buy more yarn. Oh, well. Do you go through that? Do you play those games with quilting? I have to finish 2 quilts before I can start another one. I usually say that, and then I don't. I just go, oh, pretty fabric. Like I bought fabric at Calico Gals. Is that darling? Speaking of cats. Isn't that cute? The little unicorn, one laid up in the cords. So I'm sure they still have this if you need it. I just got a yard to play with. And the fabric name is Timeless Treasures. It just says Timeless Treasures Fabrics. The pattern number is CAT-CD 2954. Cat CD 2954. So there you go. But it's just gorgeous. Don't know what I'll do with it, but had to have it. And that's the hard part about teaching at quilt shops is I call it volunteer work because I go there and they're supposed to pay me to teach. And then I leave my payment in the cash register. And then we both go away happy, the shop people and me. So it works out. Anyway, that is my update for this week. I will be teaching this weekend. I will be home next Tuesday, and we're back in my infusion month in November. So I might be a little pale and a little sleepy next week, but I will be here, and hopefully I'll have something new to show you. Thanks for checking in. Prayers for safety for those who are in the brush fires, and take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and happy quilting. I will see you again on Tuesday next week at